You guys, it's so sad. It's such a pity that Nigeria is the only country that I know of that offer amnesty to criminals. Criminals that ought to, have a special place in prison. I'm talking of Boko Haram terrorists. Terrorists that, the Nigerian government ought to build a special correctional facility for and make sure that they send them there. And some of them should even be awaiting death sentence. They should be awaiting their death. They should be on death row. Are the same people that the federal government are granting amnesty. I think that it has gotten to a point where probably the Nigerian army do not even know what to do anymore when it comes to, this terrorist issue that we have in this country. Because recently, for the Nigerian army to be saying that they need God's intervention, I say, hey, what did they happen? What did they happen for a year? The same Nigerian army that we are all depending on as a nation, as an individual, as a Nigerian citizen, for protection. They are the one that are now saying to us that, it has now become a spiritual battle. It is no more it is no more a battle of a physical. It has now become a spiritual battle for them. I say here. Even Israel as a country that we were thinking that, they do not have arms. About 2 years, a year ago, when they went into war with Hamas, the Palestinian terrorists, and they started deploying all of the technology and all of the advanced technology they had. The world was amazed because we all thought that they do not have anything. Probably they will put all of their faith in God, but that's not how it's done. That's not how it is done. There is the part that God needs to act, and there is the part that we humans have to also act as well. You do not just leave everything to God and say God will be in control. Why didn't Israel just leave everything to God? You see the kind of technology that they deployed when Hamas will shoot bomb at them and they will just, capture the bomb in the sky even before it lands. And here in Nigeria, Nigerian soldiers, they are saying that it's God, it's God that can do it. Probably their guns is no longer working. I don't understand. But anyway, today we are here to discuss how repentant Boko Haram commanders are returning into Sambisa forest after collecting $100,000 from the Nigerian government. Pardon me, 100,000 naira. These governments will call them from the bush and say, we want to talk. Come, let's talk. Let's dialogue. Let's sit down. Just like governor of Zamfara State has been doing with them. He will call them in the dead of the night. These people will come out and he will discuss with them. They will give them Elog's vehicle. They will give them money, thinking that they will stop terrorizing innocent people. But after collecting all of these gifts from the government, they will go back into Sambisa forest. They will go back to terrorizing innocent lives. You can imagine. As long as the federal government keeps, applying old solutions to new problems, this insecurity issue will keep persisting. It's a different case if they're agitating for something, just like the Niger Delta militants. They were actually agitating for something because, they have been long abandoned, and these resources that the whole country is enjoying, the crude oil, is found in their region, but the federal government is actually not doing much to help them. That was what they were agitating for, and amnesty was given to them and it stopped. But in this case, these people are not even agitating for anything. These people are just plain terrorists. These people are just plain and simple terrorists who just decide to wake up one day and terrorize innocent lives. That is just it, pure and simple. And you cannot start offering them amnesty to leave terrorism because they know that there is money there. When they kidnap people, they collect money and, Anyway, guys, before we delve right into the details of today's news, if this is your first time here or you have not subscribed to this channel, what are you doing? Please go ahead and subscribe. Hit the like button. Most importantly, click on the notification bell so that you can be the first person to get notified whenever we upload a new video. Don't forget to give this video a massive thumbs up as well. Without further ado, let's delve right into the details of today's news. Multiple former commanders of a Boko Haram terrorist group who surrendered under a government amnesty initiative have revealed that a growing number of ex-fighters are returning to the trenches. These ex-commanders, drawn from over 30,000 fighters who defected, were profiled by the Nigerian military and engaged as hybrids. One former commander who once served under Abubakar Shekau disclosed that the group's leadership had genuinely embraced the opportunity to surrender and reintegrate into society. However, the government allegedly failed to honor key commitments such as the provision of decent housing, skills acquisition training, and economic reintegration programs. Instead, according to him, each surrendering fighter received only 100,000 naira cash, then was left to fend for themselves. We laid down our arms, submitted ourselves, brought out orders from Sambisa, But now we live in hardship. Many have returned to Sambisa, he said. One of his wives, who added, had even run back to the forest due to extreme poverty. Another ex-commander from the ISWAP faction echoed similar regrets, stating, "We farmed, we had livestock, and some of us even had thriving businesses that took us to countries like Dubai." He warned that unless the government takes urgent action, more defectors may rejoin terrorism acts. The revelations suggest that the federal government, the radicalization and reintegration program may be failing, threatening to undo years of military and diplomatic gains in the fight against Boko Haram and ISWAP. The truth is, even if the government had, fulfilled their own end of the bargain, these people are still going into the forest. That is what they do not understand. These people will still go back into the forest because it pays them more than anything else. You can imagine that one saying that when they were in crime, they were going to Dubai, even traveling for Hajj. This recent Hajj that, people traveled to, about 2 terrorists were apprehended when they were preparing, to travel for Hajj at the camp, before traveling. You can imagine. It means that, it is very profitable. It's a very profitable business for them. And you cannot negotiate with criminals. That is what the Americans always say. We don't negotiate with criminals. We should be the right thing. We should be what Nigeria should follow up on. Should not negotiate with terrorists because they find it more lucrative than anything else. They do not want to work. That's just the ugly truth. They would not work. So how come, I think I've made some videos in the past where I talked about, the amnesty that was granted to militants, where I understand that those people were agitating for, some specific needs, that they felt that they were deprived of, or like these terrorists that I don't even know what they're agitating for. I spoke then of how, a witness, living in the Bayelsa part of the country, Bayelsa state, said that those people who were carrying gun, breaking law and order, burning pipelines and joining gang and doing all of those things. At the end of the day, he profited them. And even those people who were law-abiding started envying them because when the government, signed the amnesty agreement with them, the government, sent some of them to schools abroad. The government sent some of them to private schools, like big private schools, Badcock, Affair and the likes. And some of them were even collecting, if all of them, were collecting money. They were collecting stipends from government, which we cannot even classify to be stipend in dollars. The government was paying them at the time. So they became rich big boys in the society that even those who were law-abiding, that is the message. People are starting to get the message that, to be a law-abiding in Nigeria does not even pay. Because how do you then compensate militants? How do you compensate terrorists who are carrying gun and they now become rich? It's now looking as if to be law-abiding and to follow rules in the country is not, is not something worthwhile. You get? You can imagine these people, even if these people were given big money, it is not something that, it is not something that the government should even do in the first place. Because how do you make rich a terrorist? How do you make rich a militant? Which means their struggle, which means them terrorizing people is now benefiting them. They would now live better than those law-abiding citizens in the society. Anyway, moving on. The former insurgents say they do not seek luxury, but simply want the promised support, shelter, skills, and means to rebuild their lives. Their appeal is for the Nigerian government to uphold its end of a bargain before it's too late. The danger is that many of us who are still assisting the military may soon be left with no choice but to return, not because we want to fight, but because we cannot survive like this. One word. You all, let's have your total new opinions in the comment section below. What do you all think of this? Thank you very much for always listening and watching, guys. Let's continue this discussion in the comment section. I would love to hear from you. I'll see you all in my next video. Bye for now.